Hi, my name is Cel, and I'm your host for the SweatNet Be Amazing podcast, where we share stories of amazing women who live in our communities. My hope is that you will feel encouraged and inspired after listening to each episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Be Amazing podcast right here on SweatNet. I am your host, Cel, and I am so excited that you've decided to join me today for an inspiring conversation. And this week, it's another one of my friends. Her name is JoBrent Austin-Diehl, and she is the founder and managing partner for the premier med spa located in SouthPark here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It is called Infinity Medspa Wellness. JoBrent was actually an environmental lobbyist before she found her true passion as a medical spa entrepreneur. In 2016, she co-founded Infinity Medspa Wellness. Her goal is that every Infinity client look and feel their absolute best at every age. I love this episode because we talk about beauty, we talk about wellness, we talk about her journey from going from environmental lobbyist to now being this entrepreneur and following her true passion. And we talk about how we met, and we met through an experience in 2018 and 2019, Dancing with the Stars Charlotte, benefiting Carolina Breast Friends. We both were stars and just connected, and we're still collaborating today and doing things together, and she truly is an inspiration. So get ready for this incredible conversation with JoBrent. JoBrent, thank you so much for taking time to be on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Cel.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about who you are.
Well, I am JoBrent Austin-Diehl. I am the founder and CEO of Infinity Medspa Wellness, which is a medical spa located in the heart of SouthPark. I moved to Charlotte probably 12 years ago now. I was a lobbyist at the time, lobbying in both North and South Carolina. And then I decided to take a different path. But I moved to Charlotte, fell in love, married my husband. We've now been married for 7 years. I have two amazing stepchildren. Well, I don't want to call them children. They're 23 and 24, and two amazing fur babies. So a dog and a cat.
Well, it's been interesting because I've had the opportunity to get to know you over the past couple of years. And my experience, like we share a similar experience with Dancing with the Stars Charlotte, which at the time we did in I guess we started in 2018, 2019 is when we did this together. And it was to benefit Carolina Breast Friends. And that's where I first met you. And it was just such an amazing experience that we all did that together. And I can remember when things end, when we finished our season, everything's over. And I just remember being so connected with the group of people that we did this with. And with you, I've been able to maintain like just this really cool friendship and have experienced what you do now with Infinity Med Spa Wellness. And I'm a huge fan and grateful to have had the opportunities I've had to come in and model and like just be a part of what you're doing. I do want to go back and talk about what you did as a lobbyist, because I remember the first day you told me that and I was like, what? Like, what is that? Like, what does that? Because you were an environmental lobbyist before you went to beauty and wellness. So I was like, all right, you got to tell us a little bit about that. Like what drew you to that? What inspired you to that? Like, I was really, really intrigued.
So, to be honest with you, I kind of fell into it. I was working for the Department of Tourism, Film and Development, and that was a great experience. But a friend of mine knew that I just kind of wanted to do more, and he asked me to meet with a friend of his. And I will never forget this. We were sitting at a dinner in this really nice restaurant and in Raleigh, and he says, "Yeah, I have this job. I think you'd be perfect for it." And I was like, "Oh, okay. What is it?" And he said, "It's garbage." I said, "I'm sorry, start that sentence again." And he said, "Yeah, he had owned a huge company, garbage company, and sold out to Waste Management. And then he had started the long haul business. So basically, I'd be working with the executives of companies like Waste Management, Waste Industries, Republic Services, just trying to name a few that everyone would know. And I had that opportunity. Well, we also had an opportunity to sit on a board and represent the company that I was working for. And it was a board comprised of all of those people. and they were talking about some landfill legislation that was coming down the pipeline, and they were talking about the different legislators and what their opinions were, and I raised my hand and said, well, one of those is my godfather. And that's literally how it got started.
Wow.
Obviously, I became more marketable at that point, and I knew little to nothing about it. And they paired me with attorneys that the companies had hired. And, we did some, legislation. I call it more of education than anything else. I tell people if I sent my husband to the makeup counter, he could not make an informed decision. So lobbyists will get the bad name, of course, but actually we're educators because the people that are elected can't know everything about everything. No one can. So they depend on the lobbyists to educate them on it. And certainly I knew nothing about garbage. And there I was 12 years into it and 12 years later. And I was working for one of the waste firms exclusively. So I moved to Charlotte because I was lobbying in both North and South Carolina, and not long after that, we were publicly traded, took ourselves back private to grow, and I was a casualty. So I tried to figure out what I wanted to do when I grew up again. I was 40 years old at the time and had no clue. And I was still fairly new to Charlotte at that time. So there aren't many lobby jobs in Charlotte. And most people don't lobby in two states. So I would have had to have moved back to Raleigh or moved to Columbia. And I just fell in love with Charlotte and didn't want to leave.
I think that's awesome. And I think the fact that you said you were really more of an educator, to me, that's translated
Mhm.
into what you do now. I feel like.
Yes, every day. People have misconceptions about this industry that I try to dispel often as well. About a year and a half, I really tried a little bit of everything, got married, met my husband, got married, but I really did not know what I wanted to do. And obviously, I was a little bit more Barbie on a budget. So, getting things done, it's not cheap. But I called, and by the way, never do this. Now I know. You got to do all the things wrong before you do them right. But I called my esthetician at the time, and I called my injector, and I was like, so, hey, what if I got a group of girls together and, we had Med Spa Mondays at my house? And that's literally how this started. And I mean, I coordinated everything, and everyone came over and had, cocktails, which you also don't do when you're doing injectables. Note to self now, because you bleed. And Bruce. But we just had a great girls' night, and sometimes I do miss that. But again, in a non-medical environment where pets are present, not a good idea. So, but and then I had an opportunity that I happened into with a friend of mine, and that didn't pan out. But one of the reps from the laser company, by the way, they are relentless, kept calling me, and I was like, I can't do this alone. I don't have the funds to do this alone. And he said, no, I want you to meet this guy who owns a building in South Park, and he has no idea what he's doing, and he wants to open a medical spa. And I was like, oh, okay. So I met my business partner, and we met June the 16th of 2016, and we opened in September of 2016. So that was quick, and neither one of us knew what we were doing. Now, almost 7 years in, I've learned a lot. I've made some good decisions, some bad decisions, but I have definitely learned a lot, and I love what I do now, and I can't imagine doing anything else.
I love that. Those of you, when you get the experience to go to Infinity, when you walk in, like it's just beautiful. Like it's beautiful. The way people treat you is just amazing. Like it's such a uplifting, you've created an uplifting space where women feel beautiful when they walk in the door. So I think that there's something to be said for that. And it's definitely evident that you love what you do, like 100%. Because every time I've been there, you're there and you're all, and I know they're like, yeah, she's here. So it's just awesome. Like it speaks a lot about you, just the way you have created such a beautiful, like it's just a beautiful environment.
Well, I'm glad that you feel that way when you come in. That's always been our goal. And in the early stages, I worked the front desk, and I love working the front desk. But I do miss that. But I do enjoy hearing that people still feel that way. And I like also when people leave. They come in. they're nervous, they're anxious. Some people, and then you've got some pros at it, but they come in, they're nervous, they're anxious, and when they leave, and especially when they see the results of the treatments that are instant, they are so happy. And that just warms my heart to let women know we don't all have to look a certain way, but we can be the best that we can be. I'm sure you have that in your industry too. We
Yeah.
can't all be you deal with a six pack, but you help us be the best that we can be. And to me, that's a goal for how I want to live my life. I want women to feel better once they come here, and I want to feel better when I go to places. So, and I make choices accordingly.
That's huge. And I think it's really interesting with the title because it's Infinity Med Spa and Wellness. And I loved that you added, or I don't know if you've had wellness the whole time, but that's a word, because that's a very intentional word. And that's very much how I feel what you do provides. It is about beauty and making somebody feel um, just beautiful and through a healthy way. It's just kind of my interpretation of it. Did you always have wellness as part of it, or is that something that you have kind of, it has, grown into?
We started with more of a wellness component. At the time, our medical director was a bioidentical hormone replacement doctor, and she's amazing. I learned a lot through that as well. So that was kind of the point. And at some point, we're only, like I said, 7 years old. I do want to take that path and explore that more. There's another doctor that I'm in some discussions with, and she's starting peptide therapies. I'm super excited about that. She'll be the first in Charlotte to explore that avenue. So even if I don't have it in house, I do want to make connections because what you put in your body has so much to do. People forget that your skin is your largest organ. And what you put in your body has so much to do with everything that we do here as well. Acneic patients, a lot of times it's dairy. I mean, sugar is obviously, as much as I love it, it's not the best thing for any part of your body. And then, God forbid, all the preservatives and hormones in the food. So I think it's really important for people to have an understanding if they want to maximize our results, we all need to work together. And so it's nice for me to be able to point the finger. And even further than that, our medical directors now at Dilworth Facial Plastics are incredible. But, there are things that we can't do here. And we need to be honest with you and tell you if you're looking for these results, we do have some people and we do recommend you to these folks, and they are the best in their field. So, it's nice to have these relationships because wellness is so much more than diet and exercise. It's how we feel, it's how we're aging, it's how we take care of ourselves. So, you will see us grow in that capacity at some point. But right now, we are focused on the exterior at this point. But I
Well,
think how you perceive yourself to look has to do with your wellness and how you feel about yourself.
100%. And I think it's beauty, skincare, all of that is part of wellness. It is part of, it's how you take care of yourself. And I know for me, like last time I was there and we talked about skincare, because that's something that I'm just now giving attention to, which I wish I'd started sooner, but realizing the importance of it. And as I'm getting older, and that there are things that I can do to help with the aging process. But I mean, it's important to all women. I think whether it starts at a young age and they start being concerned about it then, or whether you're in your 40s and it's just now, coming to light for you, like, which I'm talking about myself, really, it is part of the whole wellness. It's all of it. It's all of it. And so it's a really important part. And it was something that I definitely wanted to share and have you on this podcast because there were a couple of things I wanted you to talk about. And I did, because it's just a real thing. I mean, when women who are working out or, watching what they're eating, they're concerned about their exterior. Like they're concerned about, how they look, and how they look affects their confidence and how they feel. And so what you're doing there, really helps with that. So it's a real thing, and it should be discussed and talked about. And so that was really a big reason why I wanted to have you on, is because I know there are women that have questions, and we hope to have you on at another time to really get into like some more of the questions about, treatments and the different things. But Do you personally have like a favorite treatment or service that Infinity offers?
So that's kind of a double-edged sword for me to answer that. Yes, I definitely do. But we have to remember that everyone is different. There are little wisdom things, and this we'll call this my education, right? People come in and go, my friend got a certain amount of units of Botox, so that's what I should get. Really? Because the sides of your face are sisters, not twins. So you and your friend, the odds of you guys needing exactly the same thing, it's non-existent. I also tell people they come in and they get Botox, but they don't do any skincare, and they also don't get facials done. I'm like, you can't iron a dirty shirt. If you only get Botox, you're just going to look like an older person whose face doesn't move. Your skin tone and texture is so important. And to be honest, your skin tone and texture to me is more important than even getting Botox. So if you do have a budget, then I would say, make sure that your skincare is where you spend your money, but you have to be consistent with it. You can't just be a non-compliant patient and buy the products. And we ask them all the time, "Are you using your products?" Uh-huh. You bought those 6 months ago. No, you're not. So, I mean, and some of the things that they buy are so obviously people, get things online, which you probably shouldn't. But we do know with our products that people are using that, they're not repurchasing them. I also tell people, they're like, oh, well, I'm not old enough to get these things done. Actually, you can't have the wrinkle you can't make. So let's not wait to have static lines, meaning lines that even when you're not moving your face, you have. Let's not wait until you have those to start. I mean, always it's going to improve, but we cannot guarantee that we can get rid of the static lines for you. And then people have a misconception about lip fillers, and everybody's walking around with duck lips. No, that's going to someone who doesn't who may not see things the way that you see it. Yeah, there is a demand for the overdone look, and there are places, and we'll send you there. Our motto is, if someone says, "Who did your lips?"
Right.
That's not a compliment.
Right.
Same thing with cheeks. Cheek filler, there's no way cheek filler can make your face fat. It's not possible. It's a teaspoon of, not even a teaspoon of product that is a liquefied product. It can't make your face fat. So I love all of the dispelling all of these types of things. But going back to my favorite treatment for me, if I could only do one, it's kind of a tie though. But if I could only do one, it would be the cool peel treatment.
Okay.
And it is a laser, and it resurfaces the skin. So we've all seen Samantha from Sex in the City, where that episode where she's gotten, honey, I got a thing done, and she's going to Carrie's book opening, and her face looks like raw meat. Well, that's the old school CO2. And those are great if you have downtime. We do not offer those. But if you're having a surgery, those are great. But the CO2 is like a cousin of that, in that it resurfaces. You are going to be red, you are going to swell, you are going to have some downtime, but what it does for your skin tone and texture is unparalleled. And I just had on Friday, I had my face, neck, and chest done. So I love that treatment. But before that, I would have said the Vivace, which is radio frequency with microneedling.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I'm always fascinated because there's so many different things that come out in treatment. So just you taking time to kind of to share, what you really like or what it does for you, like the whole skin thing with texture and how it feels and all of that. I've noticed the difference just in the skincare that you got me turned on to, Skin Better, the two products I use at night, every night before I go to bed. And I
Yes, get better
freaking
science.
Yes, and I
Yes.
freaking love it. And it's simple. It's like you're like, Seal, two products. Like these are the two. We're starting with this. And I'm like,
Those two
okay.
products will change your life.
Yeah. Oh, it's been
So those two
amazing.
products will change your life. So it's the Advanced Alto Defense Serum, which is a vitamin C, and it's the only vitamin C that I've ever truly loved, because most of them are sticky or have a smell. To me, this is more of a cream than it is like a sticky serum. but they call it a serum, but that's not my idea of a serum. I
No,
don't think
it's
most
not
people.
sticky at all. It goes on so smooth. I love it.
Yes. And so morning and night for that one, the vitamin C, and that the vitamin C, it also protects you from these computer screens. It protects you from our cell phones, which we don't think about. These god awful lights in office buildings. All of those things are contributory factors to aging the skin, and they've done so much research and found that out recently. But that's why it's called Alto Defense. So that one is amazing. And then the one that you use at night, because it's photosensitive, you cannot use it during the day, is a retinoid. It's, when you go to your derm, I mean, everybody has always tried to give me a retinol because it's great for cellular turnover, but I have a little more sensitive skin than that. And it's always dried and flaked and aggravated my skin. Skin Better Science, I'm actually using their intensive alpha retinoid now, and I could never have done that before, but it just shows you that healthy skin, you can do more with it. You can take it up to different levels because it's able to repair itself because you've got it healthy. I had a surgery a couple of years ago thanks to Mo's surgery, and one of the reasons I healed so quickly from it was because of my skin being in such great condition. I was a beach girl, so all the damage I did back then, hello, it's here now. And fighting it every day. If you ever want to pull yourself, put yourself under one of the reveal cameras here, and it shows you all of the sun damage that we actually are repairing by using the lasers.
Wow. Yeah, I know for me,
Yeah.
I was in the sun all the time. My brother and I were lifeguards. I mean, I spent years, and then we talked about that last time I came to see you. And so, taking care of my skin now, I feel like I'm a little late in the game, but I want to do whatever I can to make it healthier. Have healthier skin as I move forward, and as I age. So thank you so much for just the time that you take, because you take time with people when they come in and you greet people and they have questions. Like you never make anybody feel bad about asking a question. I think that's part of the nervousness and anxiousness that people feel when they go into a doctor's office, or they want to talk about something they've read or they've seen on Instagram, or where through social media, and then just
Oh,
to be able to,
Instagram.
yeah. I'm just which is a love-hate relationship with that. I'm sure you have that as well,
I
because of, you got to use it, but then
it's great because it gets the word out to people, and we can show you the things that we do, but inevitably we have these beautiful women walk in our doors and show us their picture with an Instagram filter on it, and that's what they want to look like. And so there's the downside,
Mhm.
maybe before filters, but there's the downside because the unrealistic expectations for these young girls, I worry about what that's going to do for them in their future. They really do walk in with Instagram filters on their
Wow.
face and say, this is what I want to look like. And of course, we try to coach them out of that, especially as I mentioned, the overdone looks, which, they can be popular. It's a status thing for some people, just like being too thin is a status thing for some people, but we just don't subscribe to that. So when you walk out the door, you're our advertisement. And if
That's
you look
it.
like that, everybody's like, yeah, no, I don't want to go there.
Right. That's what I love so much about what you have created in this space that you've created for women, a space where they can get the services they want to feel their best. You provide education and are there to answer questions, and like you said, coach people, because it's like anything. Whoever's doing the service or whoever's providing it, you want them to care about you as a person, that they're, wanting to offer what's best for you, not just like a one size fits all kind of thing.
I have an amazing, amazing team. There's been some changes over the years, but right now I have the best team that I feel like in the industry in Charlotte for sure.
So, just with like your business, one thing I want to touch on before we kind of wrap things up, but as a female entrepreneur, and especially over the past couple of years, what kinds of things are there any challenges or anything that you've had to overcome being in business as a female?
Not solely because of being a female. I know that in my last industry, absolutely, you had definitely had to overcome being a female. But in this industry, no. But the challenge for me day to day, I would say, is managing these talented young ladies and understanding what it is that they do. Because again, this is not my background. Yes, I love all the things, but I don't have the knowledge that they have. So understanding what they do, understanding how to manage what they do and their perspective is certainly a challenge. But it's one that I enjoy because I talk about educating others, and these young ladies educate me every single day. I learn something new every single day with them.
That's awesome. That's a great perspective. I know that you're a coach with having a team, and then you help coach other women as they come in to find out what it is they need. So, what you do is amazing. It really is like what you have, what you've built. Like I know that that's taken time and finding the right people to fit. It's not an easy thing.
No, and like I said, we had some, not that they weren't great at what they did, but we've had some folks that just weren't a good fit for us. It didn't mean that they weren't amazing, but they weren't a great fit for us and team and growth as a team. But now I like I said, hands down, this crew, they're all amazing. One of the things I would like to see us grow into is something like you experienced here at one point, training. The room that I'm sitting in right now, I'm in some discussions with some folks about opening a training center because that way you want to talk about being the ultimate coach. I can't teach them how to do it, but I can bring folks in like Shelby that you met and train these people and change their lives because this industry, there's really nothing but on the job training. You go to a class, maybe some people do go to a class, pay, a fee, and it's expensive, and then have one day of training before you put a needle in somebody's face. That to me is scary. I always tell consumers to ask the questions. How long have you been doing this? What's your favorite treatment to do? Have you had it done? Those kinds of things. Credential the folks that are sticking needles in your faces because there are people that are out there that, they're running a business and they bring people in after 1, 2 trainings. And that's to me a disservice to the general public and the industry as well. Because if they don't know, if they don't have the knowledge, your outcome is not going to be as good. So it's funny when people call and say, how much is this? I actually just start, and when I answer the phone, I just go ahead and start credentialing the people that are going to be sticking a needle in your face or going to be operating a laser that could burn you. I think that's what I understand a budget, but I think, save your money and figure out the right place with the right credentialing for you to go to.
That
Why the training in center would be so amazing to do, and it's something for Charlotte because there is not one in Charlotte.
That really would be. And it's definitely evident. I mean, just what I've been there on the training days and like how much time and attention and focus that you have on that. It's that comfort and trust that it offers the people that are walking through your door that they know like you take it serious and like you want to make sure
Yeah.
that the people that they are giving permission to put a needle in their face, like that they can trust it and they can trust them and they can trust you and the whole process. So I really, the education training center, that's amazing. So I look forward to seeing when that happens.
So
Yes.
hope, 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 hope.
So I want to switch gears and wanted to ask you because I just talked about, our experience with Carolina Breast Friends. And I know that giving back in the community is close to your heart. Is there any particular nonprofit or charity that you're working with right now?
I've never stopped working with Dancing with the Stars, benefiting Carolina Breast Friends, and now Go Gen Go. They just had their mid-year event here. I hosted that for them here, and I continue to help others, get involved. Last year, one of my medical directors, Dr. Surowitz, plastic surgeon, I've got him involved and got him to do it. I loved that experience, and I think everyone should get outside of your comfort zone because we're not all performers like you, Seal. It was completely outside of my comfort zone, but it's an experience that I would never change. I'm also involved with cystic fibrosis. A dear, dear friend of mine, her son has cystic fibrosis, and we started something called Fashion Breathes Life about 8 years ago, and it's a gala that benefits cystic fibrosis. So I sit on the committee for that and continue to get people involved from that. And then just take some of the pearls of wisdom that I've learned with working with other charities along the way on different ways that we can fundraise and grow that, because they have made huge strides with cystic fibrosis. And that's been wonderful to see, especially when I've had a front row seat to my friend's experience with her son. So, but I'm very involved with both of those.
Well, I just love your heart and just how much that it goes beyond what you do in business, but it also is very much a part of who you are as a person, which is, again, when we met and through our experience, and you were incredible. Like, I remember watching you, and we had the pleasure of watching each other, and just the privilege to be a part of that particular group of people. I feel very fortunate and loved getting to know you, and love the fact that I've continued, to do things together and have opportunities like this where you can come on and share on my podcast, and I can come be a part of what you're doing at Infinity. But just incredible. Do you have anything else on your heart?
I want listeners to know that you, yes, I want listeners to know that you are incredibly humble. Okay, so for those of you that don't know or didn't see her dance, first of all, the first day I walked into the dance studio and she was dancing, I was like, well, second place sounds good. And sure enough, she kicked my butt. So don't let her be humble. She can be amazing and not be, should not be humble about that. You are incredibly talented, and what a joy to watch. But again, yeah, no, we all knew it was, second place was all we could even hope for watching you.
You make me blush. You're so sweet. I loved it.
I
I
need
had
to
the
blush,
best
girl. I
time.
saw it.
It was so fun. I reflect on it all the time, but mainly like just the experience of it and the people I got to meet. That's always the biggest thing, I think, is when you surround yourself with good people, and that's what makes it for me all the way around. And then the dance was just like icing on the cake fun. But do you have anything else on your heart that you would like to share with listeners?
Just take care of yourselves, ladies. Don't be so hard on yourselves. The mirror doesn't always have to be the enemy. Try to be the best that you can be. And that is like the biggest message. And it took me forever to figure this out, because we're all so critical of ourselves. But be the best that you can be. And that really is enough.
I love that. Thank you so much for taking time today to jump on with me. Where can people connect with you on social media?
Our Instagram account is Infinity Medspa Wellness, all of that together. Facebook, same thing. Our website is also extremely long, www.infinitymedspa-wellness.com. You're always free to give us a call at 704-733-9202. But we now finally, thank you, have online booking.
Oh, that's
awesome. 2 years in the making. Yes. And one thing to remember, no one knows. I always tell people, you don't call the doctor's office and say, my stomach hurts. Now, maybe let's take out my spleen. Okay. So when you call and say, hey, I don't know what I'm looking for. And we offer complimentary consultations. And if you even wanted to start with a facial, those are customized to what your skin needs at that time, because remember, your skin changes with the seasons as well. But we offer complimentary consultations. A lot of folks charge for those, but for me, I think it's important to know who's going to be treating you, what their experience is, what the environment is, yes, what the cost is, and what your results that you're looking for are going to be, and people be clear with you about what those results are going to be. So complimentary consultations are always a great thing.
Absolutely. And what a great, go for it. Ladies, go ahead and book your appointment now. Get in there and get with someone and make a plan. It's just like anything else, just like planning out. I would look at it as the same as planning out for what you're going to do, for what goals you have. Like, you have goals for your skin too. So thank you again so much for being so, like, just sharing like really good information about beauty. And like, we hope to have you on for our next goal is to have you on for like a live, so we can take questions and answer things. So we'll be coming back around for that.
I would love to. And like I said, don't shoot me. I'm not the expert, but I feel like I'm around it so much that I can definitely help you and the ladies out with any of the questions. And if I can't, I can certainly point you in the right direction.
I love all of that. Well, thank you again so much for being on.
Thank you, Cel.
Thank you for joining me today. If you like the podcast, please like and share this with other women in your life. You can find out more about SweatNet on sweatnet.com, or follow them on Instagram at SweatNet and SweatNet Charlotte. You can follow me personally on Instagram at Cel Smart. Stay tuned for the next episode of the SweatNet Be Amazing podcast.